All right, let me try another video solution. Here's from Chapter 8. This is our momentum one, number 16. It says, calculate the final speed of a 110 kilogram rugby player who is initially running at 8 meters per second, but collides head on with a padded goalpost and experiences a backward force of, and they give a number and a time. So this would fit into that category that net force is the change in momentum over the time taken. Or, as they want to put it, the change in momentum is force multiplied by time. So they give this number. This is 1.76 times 10 to the 4th newtons. So there's the force on it, for a time period of 5.50 times 10 to the minus 2 seconds. And if we then apply these numbers, 1.76 times 10 to the 4 times 5.50 times 10 to the minus 2. This is going to be a change in momentum of 968. And the units as they look here are newtons per second, but that's the same as a kilogram meter over a second, because a newton would have, all of this with a second in the denominator. Okay. So there's the change in momentum. Now, the change in momentum would be something like this. And maybe I should be careful here, because this force was in the negative direction. Negative. This would be a negative change in momentum, a loss in momentum. So if you say that a change in momentum looks like this, a final minus initial, we would then have mv final minus mv initial equals this negative 968 kilogram meters per second. And we're after what are we after? I think it said the final speed. Calculate the final speed. Okay. So why don't I factor out an m here and put in its number. So I'll factor out an m and put in the number of 110. Then it says final speed minus initial. And so they said it's traveling at 8. And that'll be negative 968 kilogram meters per second. And so maybe I should put 110 kilograms. So the kilogram is going to cancel off. And with a little bit of work, we can figure out what the final speed is after this impact. So let me take this negative 968 and divide it by 110. So that's a change of 8.8. Moving this 8 now to the other side gives me a final speed of negative 0.8 meters per second. So I think, as they're trying to imply, this rugby player would hit it, actually come to a stop because the change of momentum is more than the momentum it actually has, and then bounce off a little bit. So it's going to bounce back with a small backwards speed here. All right, so getting close to the conservation of momentum, but not quite. So this is just a single object changing its momentum because of a force.